Halloween, and today, as promised, we're doing a costume. Today's costume is one of my favorite people of all time, Lucille Ball, in a very specific episode. This episode was when she stomped the grapes in Lucy's Italian movie. It's a very easy costume. It's very affordable. We're not going to have a lot of work cut out for us. It's an easy makeup. It's going to look so great. Let's get started. If you hadn't noticed ever before, I'm just a little bit of a Lucille Ball fan. Just slightly. I think she's kind of cool. Here are some of my pieces and things that I have here at home. Some are original art pieces, a scrapbook. I've got the board game and all the dolls. So yeah, I like her just a little bit. And today we're gonna be doing the Grape episode. People call it the Grape stomping episode. It's actually called Lucy's Italian movie. And there she is right there for Christmas ornaments, and over here, there's even more, so there's a lot. These are license plates. I've got 2 clocks, just about everything. So I love Lucy, needless to say, if you didn't already know that. I've got, magazines and articles and all that stuff. But this is our costume for today. It appears my small ring light has taken a dump. That's okay. I think I have enough light in here coming in from the window over there. And for Lucy's Italian movie, it's a very, very simple costume. I went to the thrift store, of course, and I purchased this top. I got lucky finding this top. Initially, I had been to the thrift store and I purchased a different top, and you'll see that it's kind of the style that I was looking for, but it doesn't have the lace and things like that. Anytime you're at the thrift store and you're looking for pieces for a costume, if you see something that's even similar, you're probably going to want to go ahead and purchase it because you may not find something that's similar again. So I went ahead and I purchased this. It wasn't too much. It was $5, not bad. And I'll probably just save it for something else, or I'll just redonate it. I ended up going to another thrift store because I was actually looking for a couple of pieces for a costume, and I found this one that's just perfect. It's lace at the top, and look at this. It's brand new. It was a $28 shirt, closer to $29, and I got it for $6.95. It was a steal. It was a great bargain, and the shirt is just perfect. It just doesn't have the little sleeves like she had, but it'll look fine without it. I mean, nobody noticed those small details anyway. We're going to get the point across. Let's just put it that way. This, I just picked a white scarf. It's just a regular white handkerchief, bandana scarf. And I went to the thrift store and I bought that. I think this one was $3.99. Not bad, but it could be better. I think these should only be $1, but I'm just saying. So I bought that. That's for our head. And I found the perfect skirt. Now, I've seen Lucy Does an Italian Movie or whatever, the episode. I've seen it in Technicolor. And she's wearing like a peachish skirt. If you see any of the dolls, just like my doll over there, or any other, even an animation of it, she's in a blue skirt. So we're doing the blue skirt, plus that's what I found, so I'm going with that. And that was $5. So this entire costume, I got the belt. The belt was $12, not quite $30. So I purchased this belt online on eBay. And she's wearing some kind of dangly earrings. I'm not really sure because the camera never gets close enough to see exactly what the earrings are, at least not in photographs online. So I just chose these. They're dangly silver earrings. If you've got a dangly silver earring, it will work. Like I said, people don't pay attention to the small details most of the time. If you've got most of the details on point, which we do, it's going to be fine. And then you don't have to, especially if you have blue eyes already. But Lucille has blue eyes, so I'm doing my blue contact lenses. I put a temporary orange tint in my hair, and I just wasn't really happy with the brightness of it. I'm probably going to use a little bit of this just in my bangs. That's the only hair that's going to be showing. If you noticed earlier, I do have my hair in curlers. I slept on them overnight, sponge curlers. They work the best on my hair. I can actually keep a curl that way. And then I have, of course, plastic grape. This was so great. I got these on sale at Michael's. They were marked down from, the red ones were marked down from $13 or $12 down to $5. So I got one of those. And then these more Concord grapes, these were on sale for $3, marked down from $12. So I was really excited about that find. And then I have myself a laundry basin here that I also got at Michael's for $8. So everything was really pretty cheap. I also have these slats over here. These were free, kind of. I had ordered a mirror for one of my bathrooms, and it was part of the packaging materials. So it's a really thin wood, and I just had my dad cut them into slats for me, and I'm going to be gluing them around the laundry basin over there to make it look more like a grape vat. So that's what I'm going to be doing with those. And I got a new hot glue gun I'm pretty excited about. For the makeup, we're just going to be doing, of course, you have to have lashes. If you're going to be Lucille Ball, you have to have lashes. It's rule number 1. And you have to have bow lips. We're going to need a lip liner, a red lip liner, red lipstick, or you can even fill with the red lip liner. But you got to have the bow lips and eyelashes, or you're not Lucille Ball. I've got a white eyeliner as well. I've got a black mascara. Of course, I have lash adhesive. You're going to need that. And that's pretty much it for Lucille Ball. I'm going to have, you know, a flesh tone foundation, whatever your flesh tone is. Blush, of course, too. And I have this Ulta palette. I might put a little brown in on my eyelid. You know, we're just basically doing a 1940s style look. And then I have also black liner, which I'll do a little bit on my lid. She didn't really wear a cat eye, but I'm just going to go across my upper lid with the black liner. Accentuate the positives, right? First thing I wanted to do was I wanted to spray paint my laundry basin brown because I didn't want the white to be showing through the slats. It's probably going to show through a little bit. I wanted it to be brown underneath. That's optional, or if you can find a brown basin, then that's even better. But I already had brown spray paint, so I went ahead and spray painted it. I'm just going to wait for that to dry while I get my hot glue gun ready. My laundry basin is painted and dry, and I'm going to start gluing the slats to the basin with my hot glue gun. I've completed my laundry basket grape vat. What I want to do now, and as you can see, actually I didn't go all the way around because I'm going to get in from this side. So I left it open for my feet so that I can get in. I knew that the slats wouldn't go all the way around, and that's okay. Another thing you can do, you don't necessarily have to have a thin plywood like I have here. I got this for free, so I used it. Another thing that would really work is just cardboard. Cardboard would work great for this project. You might even want to double up just to make it a little more stiff so that, you know, it stands up and it doesn't really bend. But a cardboard would work great. And you can get that from your local dumpster. Around it, I just went around with a piece of twine and I tied it in the back just to give it a little bit more pizzazz. So that's that. It kind of fans out. I love it. I want to go ahead and spray paint it though. So I'm going to spray paint it. You don't have to spray paint the inside unless you want to. And then when it's spray painted, what I wanted to do was just kind of hang the grapes where they're like coming out like that. It's going to look really cute. So the grapes are going to kind of hang out like that, just so that you kind of get the idea of what it is. And another thing I wanted to mention is if you've seen the kids' costumes where they're in a wagon, this would be a great kids' wagon costume. You can make the vat, or you can make the wagon into a vat of grapes and then dress your little girl up like Lucy stomping the grapes. So, just another idea. I'm going to go out and spray paint this, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. It looks awesome, and once I get the grapes on there, it's gonna look really cool. But you'll notice I did not spray solid. I'm using wood, and I wanted the wood grains to kind of show through. So I just kind of did a light spray to give it a more of a weathered wood look to it. Also, I did spray a bit of the inside. If you're gonna be out and about and people are taking pictures, you don't want those white slats to show behind, or light colored, or even cardboard. So spray the ones that are going to be appearing in photographs behind you. That way, when you take pictures, you won't have that unfinished look to the costume. I did not spray the ones in the front, so you see what I mean? If that appears in the back of your photo, it's going to kind of look weird. So I did spray paint the inside and a little bit of the inside of the vat as well. That's the back of it. So I'm just going to step right in. And as soon as it's dry, I'll hang the grapes over the sides, and you'll know exactly what I'm going. I also wanted to mention that when you're gluing the slats on to the rounded, whatever piece that you have that is probably rounded, if you're working with a rounded piece, you're going to want to glue the slats down the middle, as much hot glue as possible, right down the middle, because they're not round. So that's the part that's going to stick, is the middle. So make sure that when you're gluing them on, you're putting the glue right down the middle of the slat of wood or cardboard. Hello, I've got my top on and it's time for makeup. Really, the only thing we needed to make with this costume, which is awesome, was the vat of grapes. And that's optional. You don't have to do that part if you don't want to. I mean, just the costume, if you carry some fake grapes in your hand and you have the red hair and the makeup, they're gonna know who you are. So I just wanted to throw that in there. You don't have to do that. And that's kind of why I didn't really include it in the cost of the costume. It's an optional thing. It's just gonna take it to the next level. And you know, I'm all about taking it to the next level. I've already put my foundation on. And you see I took my curlers out. So I just want to do some teasing. This is how these ladies did it back then. But to keep their hair curly, they'd always get perms. You see that? How curly that is? It's amazing. So I'm just combing it out. We're going to do the Lucille Ball look. Only it's just going to have to be a little bit faked today because I'm looking all over for my combs. What she did was a comb on each side, like that. Can't find them anywhere. So I'm going to use bobby pins. They'll work. And of course, we're going to have to spray. Well, if you don't want it to go anywhere. It's not really going anywhere today. And I'm going to use a little of this orange spray. Really, I didn't have to curl my whole hair either. I just did it because it's Lucy and I wanted to, so I did it. But you're going to back comb the front here. The only thing that's showing what I was saying is her top part of her hair here. That's it. When she does the grapes episode, it's completely covered with the bandana. So I just wanted to do it, so I did. And then, so we're just gonna take this here. We just back combed and just kind of like that. And that's how it is. And then to get the real Lucy look, you see all this curly stuff? I'm gonna comb that out. If you already have red hair, that's great. Use it. I try to use everything I already have with these costumes. Like, for example, if you have just a laundry basket laying around, use it if you're not using it for anything else. Or you can even get them at the dollar store. I was just at Michael's, so that's where I got mine. But you know what I mean. You might have a shirt already that looks like this that you can wear, or a skirt already that looks like that. I paid a little bit more than what you might be paying for it because you might already have this stuff. So what you want to do is use what you have first for sure, and then go out and buy whatever you don't have, obviously. But some people don't think to use what they already have. They just don't. They think, I need a costume, and they don't think, hey, what do I have that could look like this costume? And that's kind of like why I'm doing the channel. It's a way to, create something without having to buy too much. Everybody's got a section of their closet of stuff that they just don't wear. Maybe it's something you grew out of. Maybe it's a bridesmaid dress you're never going to wear again, or, something that has the perfect fabric that you can use for something else. And that's why I wanted to do this channel, because that's what I'm showing you. So it's not always, doesn't always have to be something that you have to go out and buy. I hate that I'm having to use the bobby pins. You have to use like 8 zillion of them. When if I just had a comb, that would have been great. You kind of see where I'm going with it. But she combed it back on both sides and had like, the curls going down the middle is what you want. I hope you can see I just have my one lit up vanity now because my ring light totally just stopped working after like 2 uses. So I don't know where it came from either. Just pinning all around. Basically what you're trying to do for Lucy. You're just going straight down the back middle. I'm going to do the rest of this off camera because I can't even really see what I'm doing. And I'll show you how it looks when I'm done. So my hair is done. If you can see, it has a red tinge to it. I used to actually have red hair, but it was too hard to maintain. So I don't anymore. I had red hair for quite a long time, actually. I've pinned it back. You can kind of see how it's styled there. So she kind of just had a curly thing going on right down the middle and would pin it up on either side, usually using combs. So that's the Lucy look. If you have combs at home, that's great. Use them. Contacts are not, I'm not a fan of contacts, but it makes for a better costume, so I do it anyway. They just drive me nuts. But anyway, so I'm gonna center this scarf. You see what I mean? Like the hair doesn't show anyway. So, but I just wanted it to kind of look like it would be styled like that underneath. And then she leaves it hanging in the back. And I'm just going to tie it and leave it hanging down like she had it. Love how my double chin is so awesome right now. All right, that's it. We've got, I think her ears were out too. We've got the look. That's it. We're gonna put our earrings in and then we're gonna go to town on our makeup, which is not hard. It's a very easy look. There's our earring. Looks so cute. I look like Lucy already. What? You'd think that could happen with just hair and some contact lenses and earrings, but wow, so cool. There we go. So now we're ready to do makeup. Whole ordeal, right? Not really. It's really easy, but getting the hair right is paramount when you're gonna be Lucille Ball. For me, I have to get it right. So anyway, Lucille Ball was born August 6th, 1911. First thing I'm going to do is brows. I want to have a good brow. Now hers were kind of thin, so you don't want to make them too thick. So it's about how you want it. She kind of came from the 1920s era when it was really popular to do just a thin line, almost like a pencil line, like you've seen Jean Harlow and Betty Davis and folks like that. They would wear the real thin line and they would go like all the way down to the end where the eye starts with the line. It was very popular when Lucille Ball was starting to get into really showbiz. So you might hear in the background, I have an episode playing. It's one of my favorites. It's called Fred and Ethel Fight. It's hilarious. It's kind of, if you watch the new movie that just came out with Nicole Kidman, it's what that movie was based off of or around. Not really based off of, but that was the episode they were working on during the time of this point in their lives when they were filming that movie. So Fred and Ethel Fight, and it was hilarious. Definitely one of my favorites. All right, so I've got my eyebrows done, and now I want to do a white liner on my waterline, just because it's going to make my eyes pop a little bit more. I don't know how people do this and talk at the same time. I'm having a hard time with it, but I'm going to try. So, like I said, Lucille Ball, born August 6, 1911. And at a very young age, before she was 3 years old, her father passed away. Now, because of this, for whatever reason, right after her father passed away, it's a vivid memory she has of a bird being perched upon the window right after her dad passed away, and ever since then she had a fear of birds. She didn't want birds on the wallpaper. When she went to a hotel room, she wouldn't stay in a hotel room that had birds in pictures or anything like that. So just an interesting fact about Lucille Ball. Also, her mother was working quite a bit just to care for the family, so she kind of ended up being raised by her grandparents. In fact, she did. Her granddaddy Hunt and her grandmother Hunt. And they encouraged Lucy to get involved in like theater and stuff at school and all of these things. They were the ones that encouraged her to kind of get into that. And Lucille Ball was beautiful. She was kind of tall and lanky, but she had the figure and, you know, very thin, like a model-esque figure growing up. She would go to vaudeville shows. She loved Julian Eltinge. She was a huge fan of Julian Eltinge. And she was a comedian from the very beginning, because Julian Eltinge was a comedian as well. He's just one of the ones she loved. She loved all of them, the Marx Brothers, and everybody that she would go to vaudeville and see, she really kind of idolized and looked up to, and that's what she wanted to do. So there's this one story that she was working in a carnival at one point, and she was working in the hamburger stand at the carnival. I love this one because while she was working at the hamburger stand, people would walk by and she'd act like they were gonna step in something. She'd be like, no, don't step there. Step over here and get yourself a juicy hamburger. Just stuff like that makes me emotional because, I mean, she's just always been one of my favorites, and she also reminds me a lot of my Mimo Gladys for some reason. But that's another reason why I love her so much. I just love her so much, as you can see. She always been able to put a smile on my face. As she got a little bit older, people started recognizing Lucy for what she was. She'd go to casting calls and different things like that. She actually became a coat model for Hattie Carnegie in New York. She was a coat model for some time, and I want to say it was her early 20s. She came down with rheumatoid arthritis, and she was unable to work for a while, and she was really down on herself. Somehow, she got the proper treatment, and it was fixed to the extent that she could go out and start going to casting calls again and things like that. During the rheumatoid arthritis, she was unable to work with Hattie Carnegie, so she kind of lost that gig, but she continued after her bout with rheumatoid arthritis. She continued to still go to casting calls and try to get in show business. Now, at the time, Lucille Ball was blonde, and so was everybody else trying to get into Hollywood. So she started coming up with these screwball ways to get noticed. One of my favorites is she was in a lineup of girls one time, and they all look like Lucy. Another thing is Lucy had 2 left feet, so she wasn't she wasn't a good dancer. They all had that going for them. Plus they were blonde and beautiful. She felt intimidated. She had to come up with a way to get noticed. And she had this red tissue paper in her pocket. And she went into the bathroom before they called the girls to line up. And she wet the tissue paper. And she put little balls of the tissue paper all over her face. And stood in line with these other girls that were like bombshells, right? And they ended up calling her because they thought, wow, you know, this girl's got something and we don't know what it is, but it's something. You know, she ended up getting cast or whatever in a comedy role or whatever that time. So it was pretty cool. So it was a while before she realized, hey, you know, I look like everybody else. Why don't I try something else, something different hair color? And that's when she became the henna rinse redhead that we all know and love. Once she did that, it set her apart from everybody. She even, I'm just doing some blush now, just like that pinky blush I was showing you. So it's pretty pink. It's right there. And the Ulta Just Face It beauty palette, any kind you have will work. So what was I saying? So she became the redheaded bombshell that we all know and love today. And not long after that, she, this is hilarious too, she went to audition for the role of Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind. Get this, in the casting call, so in the paper, or whatever she was reading from, it stated that they wanted a Lucille Ball type for the role of Scarlett O'Hara. So of course she's like, well, I should get that part, and it was a huge film at the time. So she goes to this casting call, or this audition I should say. It's not a casting call yet. But she goes to this audition thinking, I've got this in the bag. I am Lucille Ball. But she rides there in a convertible with the top down. And don't you know it rains that day? Not just a little bit of rain, but it like pours down rain. So she gets the audition. She looks like a drowned rat. Needless to say, she didn't end up getting the part, but Vivian Leigh got the part. I don't know if you knew that story, but that's one of my favorites. I don't know. I just always loved her since I was growing up. I've always just loved her. I noticed that when I watched her, that no matter how crappy my life was at whatever point, or how sad I was about anything, or angry or upset, I could watch her and I'd be grinning the whole time. So it wasn't just about the laughs, it was about just the way she makes you feel in general. She makes you feel, I mean, she just makes you happy. So, and it's interesting, the interesting thing is that her life wasn't that happy. You know, she had kind of a rough upbringing, you know, with her dad passing away and being brought up by her grandparents. Now, there was a loving family, don't get me wrong. She had a loving upbringing with her grandparents and everything. They were all very close-knit and encouraging of her and her arts and stuff. But it must have been hard losing a dad so young, especially when she was so close to him. I mean, if you lose your dad at 2 and you can still recall, well, she was 2.5, closer to 3, but he must have been a good dad. He actually died from typhoid fever. And I think it was actually a fact too that Dee Dee, her mother, who she always called Dee Dee, became very heartbroken over that and really was unable to care for her children. You know, she worked a lot to keep her mind off of it and that kind of thing. I'm just putting a light around. This is optional. You can if you want, or you don't have to, but it's kind of bringing out my eyes a little bit. I'm totally messing up a little bit because I can see out of one of my contacts, but I can't see out of the other. So to close this eye, I can't see anything. It'll look fine. It'll look fine. I'm messing up a little bit. Oh no. There must be something like on the contact. It's probably some makeup or something. A little bit of eyeliner that got on there. Just trying to blend it as well as I can. I'm just gonna try and make this one look just as messed up as that one. I don't think it looks too bad. Of course, my phone's going crazy right now. I'm just gonna try and do it with my eye open. Yeah, just did a little brown on the upper lid there. Kind of left my lid white or with nothing there. I might put a little white down there just to kind of bring it out a little bit. So I have done Lucy before. I've done the one where she's just in the polka dotty dress, like the house Lucy. And then I've done Vitamita Vegemin. And then when I did Vitamita Vegemin, I did her in black and white. So that was pretty cool. I actually won with that costume. I had stopped competing at that time, but I went ahead and went out anyway just because I had it. And I think I won like a $50 bar tab. Pretty cool. I guess I do her all right. I should. Jeez. If I don't, that'd be a real problem. So I bought these lashes and they are outrageous thick. I always buy over-exaggerated lashes, and even though I think they kind of look ridiculous, for a costume, if you are gonna be somebody that is known for lashes, like say you wanted to be Tammy Faye or something, you gotta just bust out the big guns. None of that little stuff, that little skimpy stuff. Funny story about lashes. Too, with Lucille Ball. Let me start from the beginning here. Before, and if you saw the movie, you probably know this, that recent movie that they just had with Nicole Kidman. But before Lucille Ball ever did I Love Lucy, she was in a radio show called My Favorite Husband. She was so good on that show that she kind of pitched, after she had met Desi and everything, they were already met and married and everything like that. So she pitched to them, you know, how about we do a TV show? Desi came up with the idea, I Love Lucy. Well, it was kind of a compromise, actually. He wasn't keen on naming it after her. He wanted it to be named after him. But I think the executives, the producers and stuff, Oppenheimer and all of them kind of like came to a consensus. Okay, how about you're the star of the show, you're the big band leader, and she's trying to get in the show all the time. So they come up with this whole concept that the whole premise of the show is kind of going to be based off of, and Lucy getting into all these crazy things. And then he was okay with that because he was going to kind of be the star in the show, but he definitely wasn't the star of the show. Kind of backfired on him. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, funny story, when Vivian Vance first came on and was cast as Ethel Mertz, she strutted in looking beautiful. I mean, Lucille Ball thought she was gorgeous. She was blonde, she had beautiful eyes, you know, a nice figure. But when she came on the set for the first time, Ethel was wearing fake eyelashes. And Lucille Ball actually went up to her and ripped the eyelash off her face and said, the only one's gonna wear fake eyelashes around here is me. You kind of saw a little bit of that. I think that's funny. She knew what she wanted, and nobody was gonna be more looking better than her on this show. And she was kind of dating the producer, or married to him, because Desi was really the brains behind getting it on the air and you know, really producing everything and working with everybody. So he was kind of the one, you know, behind the scenes pulling all the strings. He had a really good business mind, actually. I didn't actually end up wearing the liquid liner. I don't think I really need it with these crazy eyelashes. I'm just saying. I did like the Nicole Kidman, Lucille Ball, her playing Lucille Ball, and I'll tell you why. There was a huge controversy about people wanting Deborah Messing. People wanting Deborah Messing to play Lucille Ball because she looks like her. And I'm going to give you my opinion, and you may not like it. I've always thought that Deborah Messing looks like Lucille Ball too. She really bears a striking resemblance. But one thing is, she played Lucille Ball on her own show, Will and Grace. They did a whole Lucy and Desi thing, if you want to watch that episode if you've never seen it. And in my opinion, she didn't do a very good job of portraying Lucille Ball. She may look like her, but looking like her and acting like her are two different things. She looked overacted when she tried to portray Lucille Ball. Like she was overthinking everything and not doing a good job. I mean, Lucy was she was natural. So natural, almost as if she's on the TV screen, like she's talking to you and me, you know. And that's how she did it on set too. Like she didn't sound like she was reading lines or anything, or like she was confused at all. And when Deborah Messing played her on her own series, I'm sorry, but that's what it sounded like to me. I'm gonna put my other eyelash on off camera because this is totally boring. So I have my eyelashes. They're wild. Yeah, went off camera because doing that can be really tedious. Eye things are not my favorite, but I have to have them because if you don't have the eyes, you don't have the costume. Eyes are very important in a costume for me. I just wanted to take a little black and just kind of very lightly go just about halfway across the bottom to accent my eyes a little bit. See how it just kind of makes them look a little whiter. To get on with the movie and what I thought of it, Nicole Kidman did a great job. Another thing is Deborah Messing is not an A-lister. She's just not. She's a sitcom star, so her level of acting wouldn't have been good enough anyway to play somebody like Lucille Ball. It's just, now Lucille Ball was a sitcom star, but she's more of a natural than Deborah Messing even was. And also, Lucille Ball did other things. She did movies. She had one with Bob Hope. She had The Long, Long Trailer. Several movies. She wasn't just a sitcom star. And later on, she did even Broadway when she was older. She was a very talented actress and not just a comedian. Lucy Arnaz, she was in charge pretty much of making the film about her mother. And Deborah Messing fans from all over were giving her crap about it not being Deborah Messing. But, you know, you gotta pick the best one for the part. And if someone's playing your mother, pretty important, and not just any mother, but an icon like Lucille Ball. And I just think she did great. And you see kind of that dynamic between Lucille Ball and Vivian Vance was portrayed very well when Lucy would bring like sausage and bacon and eggs and all of this. She'd have that delivered to Vivian Vance on set. And Vivian was like, you know, I'm trying to diet. You know, I've lost weight. I'm trying to look good, you know. And the dynamic was, well, I'm going to be the best looking girl here. That's what Lucille Ball would be like, you know, well, I'm going to be the one to be the star. She was like, I like the voluptuous woman that we hired. And that's how we want you to look here, you know. So Lucille Ball really thought Vivian Vance was hot. She like really thought she was a beautiful woman and was really competition for her. She kind of thought that. But long after the show, Lucille Ball and Vivian Vance remained really good friends, really best friends. Now I'm going to do the bow lips. To do the bow lips, you have to go down, way down in the middle and way up high on the sides, even over your own lips. Like that. It's kind of like the McDonald's M on top to create the bow lip. Even though the divorce between Lucy and Desi wasn't really amicable. I mean, he had done a lot of gambling and he was cheating on her and all these things. They stayed really good friends. They even really loved each other. They both ended up getting remarried. Lucille Ball married Gary Morton, who, just a funny fact, Gary Morton had no idea who she was when they met, at least. So that's kind of funny. Like, who doesn't know who Lucille Ball is? Are you living under a rock or something? Lucille Ball had a couple other sitcoms. So Desi was working on some other stuff too, and they even had one together where it wasn't like the regular I Love Lucy. They like moved out to the country, all of them together, and that lasted for a little bit. Then she had Here's Lucy, which she did with Desi Arnaz Jr. and Lucy Arnaz, Lucie, her daughter. She did that show with the two of them, and that lasted a little bit. It didn't really do too well. And then she had the Lucy Show with Gail Gordon, and Vivian Vance even came and did some cameos on the show. But Vivian Vance, when Lucy asked her to come on to the show and do a cameo, or at least one or two episodes, Vivian told Lucy, well, I'll come do it, but I'm gonna be Vivian on the show. And she was like, okay. So she agreed to it. By that time, they were like the best of friends, and they really remained best friends for like the rest of their lives. Not long after filming of The Lucy Show, Vivian Vance succumbed to cancer. William Frawley was the first to go. Obviously, he passed away. And then Vivian Vance had succumbed to cancer. Desi was the third to go. And Lucille Ball ended up surviving all of them. There's my lips. I don't know if you can even see it very good. I feel like I'm far away sometimes. What do you think? Now I'm going to get the rest of my costume on, and we're gonna go out and take some photos. This is the costume. It's all done. You're gonna tuck your shirt in, and what Lucy did, because she was gonna be stomping grapes, she took a skirt like this. It's a circle skirt, and you're gonna bring the bottom up behind and up under and tuck it in the front. You know what I mean? So that it makes kind of like shorts. Thank you for joining me again today. Of course, Lucille Ball is one of my favorites. She always will be. I mean, there's just no one ever will compare to the Queen of Comedy. If you loved this video, please remember to like, subscribe, and share the video. That concludes this episode. Stay tuned and make sure to watch my next costume episode. It'll be in 3 weeks or so. You're gonna really love it. I'll see you next time.